Hi, I'm Troy Alexander for Child Support Game Over, and today I'd like to talk about how there are two kingdoms. I know we covered this a little bit in the previous video, and I want to encourage you, men. We are making some very, very powerful videos right now. Um, Sam's video from a couple days ago, just extremely, extremely powerful. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, and you can understand what he is saying, this is a major key to victory. And I believe what I am presenting is a major key to victory. We have victory in our sights. And if men can learn this, we can give them the keys. The key of knowledge is something that when I can hand you the understanding, when the scales fall from your eyes and you can see, you will hold the keys. And these keys can set men free. These keys are the key knowledge and understanding to set you free. And I encourage everyone, share our videos. Link your friends to our videos. Post these on every possible server wherever you can. We don't know how long we're going to have where we're able to freely share this information in this location. And because this is so powerful, and I encourage all men, share these with your friends, get them out, share them on different websites, different ways. Let's get this information out. Let's get these keys in the hands of as many people as possible. Because if I can give these keys to you, you can help others, and you can give these keys to others. And it is when we have 10,000 men with this key of understanding, and the keys of understanding we're providing you, their system's done. We can take dominion back. And this is a war for dominion of this planet. This is a war for this country. This is a war for our offspring. This is not just about them stealing a little bit of your paycheck and enslaving you. This is much, much bigger. Our God, the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, gave us freedom. He created us living beings. And their system, their evil, corrupt, godless, hateful system is destroying what God, that is their goal, to destroy what God is creating and to steal dominion. Our God is the God, the true God, the God of life. Their God is the God of death. And as I said before, their God has many names: Osiris, Baal, Saturn, Moloch, Apollo. And another name is Helios. And if you look in New York Harbor, there is a statue to their God called the Statue of Liberty. It's not the Statue of Freedom. Freedom is what our God gives. Liberty is part of admiralty law and what conscripts get. And their God, Helios, this God of 1,000 names, their God, the God of the dead, they have built a statue to him, and they have placed it on water because their God is the God of the law of water. Their God comes from the ancient Canaanites. It dates way back to the ancient Canaanites, who God told the Israelites to wipe off the face of the planet because they would be thorns in our sides and they would be destructive to us. And in the ancient Phoenician language, Canaanite meant merchant or banker. And the root word of merchant comes from mer, which is sea. If you go to the French language, sea, if you want to say sea, you say mer. And that's where we get the word mermaid. These merchants had their ships traveling around bringing goods. And this is where the admiralty law came in. And this is all by contract. All of their law is running by contract. And their goal is to sucker you into contracting away your God given rights as a king and to accept the bonds of their slavery. And they created this system with these birth certificates. This is how it's running. This is why the birth certificate and making you the legal father on the birth certificate is so important. So this merchant, Phoenician merchant, Canaanite banker crap with their gods that God said wipe them out, wipe out their gods. It was in Egypt. It was in Rome. The Capitoline Hill in Rome sat the temple of their god Saturn, or Apollo, Apollyon, Saturnalia. This is where you get all this from. And the Roman Empire adopted this same form of slavery in cahoots with the Vatican. And now it's the Vatican's branch called Unidroit that is bringing things like the Hague Convention into your life. This is what you're coming under, is this private international law of the Hague, and we've shown this many times. I know a lot of you are having this as a stumbling block, and you're just going to have to get over it, and hopefully we can get you there. So they create this birth certificate. When I was a young man, the birth certificate I had was a certificate of live birth, not a state birth certificate, and because I am an older man. And when I went to get a passport, they said, oh, your certificate of live birth is not acceptable. And they said I needed a state birth certificate, distinguishing me as a corporate fiction so that they can give me license or permission to do that which I already had the right as a living being created by God. So, in 1968, a corporation known as United States Corporation stipulated in its corporate constitution that anyone who is an employee of the company wouldn't be called an employee, but instead be called a citizen. So when they ask you, are you a U.S. citizen, what they are asking you is, are you an employee of this corporation? Back in 2010, my family was hounded by the Census Bureau, even though we gave them the required information, the information required by law, which was how many people lived in our household. And they kept saying, well, you've been selected for the long form and you have to answer all these questions. And I said, no, I don't. Finally, their supervisor called, and I spoke to the head guy in their division of this Census Bureau thing, and he demanded an interview and that I was required by law to answer their questions. And pretty much the first question he asked was, how many U.S. citizens live in our household? And I answered back, please define U.S. citizens, because I don't know how to answer that question. So can you please tell me what a U.S. citizen is? And he promptly hung up, and they never called me back. So this is something important to understand. You are getting a birth certificate. You are getting a Social Security number for your Social Security pension and benefits as benefits of this corporation. And this is by contract. You make application for a birth certificate. You make application for a Social Security number. And when you file an affidavit of voluntary acknowledgement of paternity, it is your affidavit that you are the legal father of their fictitious child that they created using their birth certificate, and they created a trust. And you're asking to be a trustee of the trust, which means you have legal responsibilities, and you have to understand what's going on. This is how it's happening. So we explained to you some of this fraud that they're trying to trick you. You think you're going there as a father saying, I am the father of my son or daughter. And they are tricking you into this contract to be a trustee for this trust that they created. See, one of the things that bothered me for 3 or 4 months, it was, I had like 98% of this puzzle figured out, and but one thing kept driving me crazy. It was like an itch on the roof of my mouth. I was like, it was driving me nuts. And that was, how was the child support agency, before anything happened, before anything was brought to their kabuki theater, how were they determining me to be the non-custodial parent? That's the key. The keys are putting you on the birth certificate as the legal father of their created child, their non-living, breathing child, who is not your son or daughter. It is a fictitious representation of your son or daughter. And they need to put you on to complete that birth certificate. It is an incomplete birth certificate without a legal father. And that's something else I'll cover some other time. But they need to create you to be the legal father, and they trick you into consenting to be the legal father of this created certificate, which is a security, which is part of a trust. And the mother of your offspring went to the state and made application for this state birth certificate. And it now becomes a trust that's used as collateral with the International Monetary Fund, with the international bankers. And the international bankers say, hey, we got a bunch of these certificates, these securities, these fictional persons, these fictional persons. People are human and living, breathing, and the persons are the fiction. So they had all these birth certificates for these fictions that were incomplete. And they said, these children, these creations, these fictitious creations of the state that we're trying to gain jurisdiction of through fraud to enslave everyone and take away their God-given rights, we need these completed, and we need to create rights for our fraudulent children. So they created Unidroit, who is the branch, and I've showed this in another video. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch our videos. Unidroit, who is a branch of the Vatican, created this Hague Convention that declared these rights of children, and these corporations, such as the United States Corporation, signed on as a signatory. Now, the United States Corporation only has territories, such as District of Corruption. And if you go back to the definitions in 301, they say that the states for this are just these territories, such as the District of Corruption, the Puerto Rico, America Samoa, Guam. So you have to, then it says that there is a controlling state order. But in the definition of state, again, it's one of these territories. The controlling order for your child support is not Wisconsin, Texas, Illinois, Alaska, California, or Florida. It is the District of Corruption. This is something you have to understand. This is being done under Uniform Law Commission, which is a type of trust. And they are creating these laws for a one-order world so that they can make an order any place in the world and enforce it any place in the world. We covered that in another video. We are the only channels giving you this information. We need men to share this information. We're giving you this free. People are complaining about we sell a book. Yes, we sell a book. We want to help you. We produce the book. We provide the book for a fee. That's called capitalism. That's called free enterprise. But we are also giving you this information a lot of this information free in our videos. We want to destroy this evil, corrupt system. We want to open your minds and hearts and help the scales fall from your eyes so that you can fight against this corrupt, disgusting system and these bastard bar agents who are foreign agents. This is all being done as foreign agents. So let's get back to some of this stuff. I'm going to jump to something here. So this whole citizen crap started in Canaan. It was in Egypt. It was in Babylon. It was in Rome. And we are still under this Roman cult legal system. Like I said, being run by a unidroit and arm of the Vatican, where they are making rights for these citizens, which are the dead fictions from their... So we have these Roman so-called legal experts making citizens subject to private contracts, and it's being done by deception. And it's for, at this point, the benefit of the bankers in the Vatican, and they're creating what is known as corpus juris. So Unidroit has created these rights for these children in order to perfect these certificates, which are being used in trusts. And when you have a trust, you have a custodial of the trust. And there is only one custodial. That is why they can't say, well, we're giving custody of the child to this person or this person. They might say we're sharing custody, but that's not even proper and real. That's a fraud because the trust can have only one custodial. And there is a trustee to the trust. And they are making the legal fathers these trustees. So this is the form of slavery that has been coming down from thousands of years through deception, and these Baal priests are serving their false god, as we covered already, and this is being done under admiralty contract law. And that is how they made the mom the custodial, because they decided, they determined her to be the custodial of the trust. The real court judiciary cannot make a custody decision on your offspring. But this business, which is the operating as a business for the Hague, for these bankers and this cabal of attorneys, these foreign agents, can make a custodial of the trust, and that is how she becomes the custodial parent of the child. So again, this can only be done under contract, and you must consent to it. And they're fooling the men to consent to being the legal fathers with the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. But again, this is not a contract. This is your affidavit. And you can correct your affidavit. Also, as a trustee, you can determine a value that you must receive in compensation, because it has to be a two-way street. There has to be a quid pro quo when you are made the trustee. So, again, this is you must understand these contract laws, these trust terms, to fight this correctly. So again, they're bringing this fraudulent DNA crap to court to, again, fraudulently deceive you into consenting that you are the legal father. And if you do not, it could be 99.999% positive match on DNA, and you can say, I do not consent to the results. And now they have to take you to the next step, which, again, this is part of the battle. and Sam's covered some of this. So, this system of slavery is thousands of years old. It is because we have been kept in darkness that this has been able to flourish. When you understand exactly what's going on, you are now armed and on the way to being equipped to being able to not just battle it, but destroy it. So again, a good reason. I mean, you all have free will. You can choose to be legal fathers or legal fathers, making you parents to the fictional child. However, you will descend from your position as a human being, a living being with blood, breathing, alive, with rights to the property that you created, known as your son or daughter or offspring, and you can descend to being just the parent of their corporate fiction, and they take control of your offspring and make them a slave, just as they're doing to you. But again, this can only be done by contract. It can only be done by consent. And to understand what's happening arms you to be able to stop this heinous, fraudulent crap that is being used to destroy on men, destroy on our country, and destroy on our offspring. So I'm Troy Alexander for Child Support Game Over. Again, please like and subscribe. Please share this with everyone you possibly can. And please join us in our battle to destroy this crap. And information on ordering the book will be below. We've been adding stuff to the book and making updates, and we're gonna be offering a special probably in the next couple weeks for those who purchased the book and want an updated book. The book is now in excess of 400 pages, and we've added a lot of stuff and made a lot of corrections. So you will get the latest, greatest book when you order, because we are self-publishing. So as we have figured out these last few puzzle pieces, we have been doing our best to keep the book up to date. And as we have more victories and sharpen our sword, we want to share our sword with you guys. So again, it'll be a couple weeks. We'll be officially announcing the second edition. If you got a book recently, it'll only have 10 or 20 more pages than what you got. If it's a book you purchased, if you purchased the book last year, summer or spring, it's going to have maybe 100 pages more than what your book has. And we're going to have a special price, probably like $20 if you want the updated book, for those who have already purchased it. So things are happening here. We're excited. We're excited to present this information for everyone, and we ask everyone to share it. Once again, I'm Troy Alexander for Child Support Game Over, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you.